All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in. This is going to be a post game show only recorded tonight. So I wasn't able to do a show this morning. I'm battling a little bit of a flu here, so not going to go live tonight. But I did want to, obviously react to the Lakers' loss to the Charlotte Hornets. I'll be back on tomorrow morning. The plan is to be back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and continue to have our conversations and everything else, and do a regular show. So that's my plan coming up tomorrow morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for hanging out here. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys don't mind. Man, what a weird game. What a bad loss and a weird game for the Lakers. Lose to the Charlotte Hornets 100-97. And I'm looking at a stat here. It's the lowest opponent field goal percentage in a loss. It's the third lowest. So Charlotte shot 36% from the field and still got a win. That's only happened two other times where a team shot worse than that and ended up getting a W. They shoot 36%. They outscore the Lakers in the second half. I know in the third quarter they outscored the Lakers 32-18. Outscore the Lakers by 14 in the second half. And Lakers find a way to lose this game. What a really, really terrible way to start off the second half of your season, or after the All-Star break. It felt like the Lakers were 100% still in the middle of an All-Star break. Didn't really feel like they were ready to go in this one at all. I don't think that's a shock or a surprise as I say that. And it's the last thing you really wanted to see from a team that you're hoping for can have somewhat of an exciting playoff run. I mean, I still hesitant because I just don't really know what they are, and it's going to take time for Luka to kind of figure some stuff out. And the amount of defense that the Lakers lost, obviously losing Anthony Davis and losing Max Christie, not having a real big, the Mark Williams trade doesn't go down. So I think it's fair to be cautious with what this Lakers team is, but man, it was just right before the break where the Lakers absolutely blew out the Utah Jazz and then had one more game against Utah at Utah to go into the break. They lose that one, and then they follow that up with a loss against the Charlotte Hornets at home. Charlotte has lost 9 of their last 10 games. This is only Charlotte's 14th win on the season. So it really, really kind of just points out how bad, how awful of a game this was. Couple things I kind of want to start off with here. Let me start with Austin Reeves here for a quick second. I get Austin Reeves getting frustrated about a bad foul call or a non-foul call. I get it. And maybe even the referee, if you want to bitch and complain and say, why is he throwing him out? What, did he deserve 2 technicals? I'd say no. I don't think he deserved 2 technicals. That's a personal opinion. Maybe I'm looking at this more through the Laker lens. But I'll tell you what you can't have. You can't have Austin Reeves get himself kicked out of a game. You can't. That was actually the turning point. It felt like, I know a little bit before that, Charlotte was just kind of hanging around. Before the first half even ended, it felt like the Lakers should be up more, and they're playing with their food a little bit. Charlotte only had 16 points in the second quarter. They only had 37 points at halftime. Charlotte really wasn't doing anything in the first half, but Lakers weren't also blowing them away and saying, giving them no life. They were just keeping them just close enough. But Austin Reeves, just critical error. Why are you putting yourself in a position where the ref, you're kind of fighting with fire here? You're playing with fire here, and the ref hits you up with 2 technical fouls and you're out of the game. You only play 27 minutes for Lakers. Lakers couldn't even drop 100 points against Charlotte tonight. They clearly needed more offense. They clearly needed more players to be contributing. And I thought Austin Reeves really, really hurt the Lakers tonight on just making a poor decision. And it's not, I don't remember a game that Austin Reeves has been thrown out. For all I know, that's the first time he's ever been ejected. And like I said, we can sit here and we can make the argument that you can't throw out Austin Reeves in that predicament, that situation. That's fine. I'm all for that. But if you're Austin Reeves, you also can't put yourself in a spot where it's like, hey, if a ref has got a short fuse and decides, you know what, let me get this guy out of here, you're only hurting the Lakers. You're only hurting your team. So I thought Austin Reeves, just a critical error on his part. I thought he made, a critical mistake. I was tuning in to Spectrum right before I came on. And by the way, even though this is recorded, I am going to still be able to, let me actually do that right now. Let's get Coach on here. Let's take a listen to JJ Redick.
For the rest of the game, not having him out there. But, overall, I think we played, I don't even know, 39 to 44 minutes of pretty poor offense. And some of that's to be expected. Some of it was sloppiness. Some of it was poor spacing. Some of it was poor execution. I'm not going to. The reason I'm not going to read too much into that is because I think our guys competed tonight and they played extremely hard. I also think Charlotte played very sloppy. I'm not, that's not to make an excuse. That's just the reality of just having 6 days off as a group and trying to integrate new pieces. And that happens sometimes. I've been part of those first games after All-Star break when they're humming and things are good. And I've been part of them when they've been sloppy like they were tonight. I thought, our effort and competitive spirit was good enough to win. Just we were really poor offensively for 90% of the game.
Yeah.
Get one more question in.
JJ, when you guys made this trade, obviously you disrupt and not necessarily even in a negative way, but you change kind of who you guys are. Defensively, like where do you think this team is at in figuring that out, particularly down the stretch when it seemed like Charlotte was just kind of hunting and getting into the paint and getting what they wanted? How do you kind of coach that without having AD behind there, Max in this situation?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job when we went to our fires. The big one, the Nick Smith 3, sometimes when a guy holds onto the ball for a long time that you're doubling, he can kind of survey and put you in a long rotation. We're just a little bit late on that rotation. Can probably get off that earlier, but whether it's firing shifts, there's certain guys, we were comfortable shifting off of. There's certain guys we were comfortable doubling off of when they were putting Luka and everything. So I thought overall we did a decent job of that. But certainly we'll look at the tape and figure out where we can be better.
All right, we'll stop it right there. I want to just address a couple things that JJ Redick said there. He said that he thought overall the team, from an effort perspective, he thought they were fine. I disagree. I know he's supposed to say that, but they played like a team that is coming off an all-star break. But I think more importantly, they played like a team that was playing on a Wednesday night against Charlotte in February. And they look like a team that just kind of walked in tonight saying, yeah, this is an easy W. I think if I heard this correct, Lakers were double-digit favorites to win this game. So I think the way they approached this game mentally, the way they approached that game against the Utah Jazz mentally right before the break, it could all feel like it was great for the Lakers. It was. And then this is a perfect example of the NBA. Just when you start getting comfortable, it's funny. Lakers were, which game was it at? I forget which game exactly. It might have been the game against the Pacers, but I asked JJ a question of, do you reflect on how well the team has been playing, especially with guys in and out of the lineup, with the trade going down? Structurally, the team is different. There's some games where LeBron and Luka both didn't play the game against the Pacers. He said something to the effect of, like, you could never really enjoy it because the moment you get too comfortable, it will change. And doesn't it feel like these last two games for the Lakers, it's exactly what he was referring to? Because to me, it felt like the Lakers got comfortable against the Utah Jazz. They got comfortable against the Charlotte Hornets. And then here are two L's right in your face that take away from some of those other great wins that you had over the last 3 weeks or so. Of course, you want to beat the good teams. No question about it. I'd rather beat the good teams and lose to the bad teams because it at least says something about the type of team that you are. But damn, it just kind of takes away from some of the momentum the Lakers were building by losing these 2 games in a row against 2 teams that you should have beat. Specifically, this one tonight against Charlotte, just an ugly game. I saw this. I didn't even realize it, but does somebody want to explain to me why the Lakers took 51 threes? I mean, 51 threes. Bron took 11 on his own. Luka was 1 of 9 from the 3-point line. Rui was 1 of 8 from the 3-point line. Reeves was 2 of 9 before he got kicked out of the game. The only person that was hitting threes on a consistent level or at a good clip was Dorian Finney-Smith, 4 for 6. So just I don't know why they kept firing away. I think if you're a team out there and you're watching the Lakers take 51 threes, aren't you saying, okay, sounds good, go ahead and do that? Took away from the Lakers getting free throw attempts. They only took 12. We know how frequently the Lakers usually take free throws, or as it's been in the past. That's obviously going to change now without AD, but maybe not. Luka will attack the basket. Bron will. Austin Reeves always gets to the free throw line. But just to see that stat, that's a crazy one here. 51 threes for the Charlotte Hornets. And then throw another stat out here, 51 threes from the Lakers against the Charlotte Hornets. They hit 29% of them. And then the other stat to look at here, 18 turnovers for the Lakers. So just, overall, like I said, this is not the type of game that, you want to watch. You're certainly not going to enjoy. And from a Laker perspective, it's another bad loss, 2 bad losses in a row. And then you got to turn around and you got to play tomorrow. For those that are just tuning in, I appreciate you guys hanging out. This is obviously a recorded post game. Won't go too long tonight. I do want to kind of get myself right, get a little bit of rest, and then get ready to go for tomorrow. Missed my show this morning, so just trying to get back, get healthy, so that I could continue to do these shows. I'm looking here at the standings, what the loss does to the Lakers: 32-21, so still in the number 5 spot. Clippers 23 losses, Lakers 21 losses. Still a comfortable lead, I would say, in the top 6. You don't jump to 7 unless you got 25 losses. And frankly, a lot of those teams, 7 to 10, there's a lot of question marks around all those teams, but we'll see what happens on that front. I'm going to shift gears here real quick, and I want to talk a little bit about Luka. So Luka's 3rd game as a Laker, clearly Luka has not looked good, comfortable, however you want to describe it. I don't know if he had I don't know if it was 5 turnovers in the first. I know it was 5 turnovers in the first half. He has 6 turnovers total. Really struggles from the field, continuing to struggle from the field. JJ Redick said that he's not going to be on a minutes restriction anymore, so that part's going to be taken away. 5 of 18 from the field, 1 of 9 from the 3-point line between just him and Rui. 2 of 17 from the 3-point line. The areas where Luka was good, 11 rebounds, something Luka does. Obviously, it's a big part of his game. 8 assists for Luka as well. Still had the highest plus-minus of anyone on the team. He was plus 13. Jackson Hayes was plus 12. So when he was in there, good things were happening, but he couldn't hit a shot if his life depended on it. And in a game where Reeves only gives you 8 points, certainly they needed his offense tonight. They weren't able to have it. But Luka's looked very average so far. Very, very underwhelming. Let's put it that way. Let's put it, when you're talking about a top 3 player, top 5 player in the league, wherever you want to put him, there's a little bit of this like, oh my gosh, this guy's just going to come out and handle everyone. And Lakers are just going to come out the gate and they're going to start dominating. I mean, whether that's realistic or not, it's not realistic. You just kind of automatically start thinking that way because it is Luka Doncic. It is one of the best players in the world. But that certainly has not been the case since he's been here. Luka's been underwhelming to start off. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not going to figure it out and he'll get better and better as we go. And, I think I've told you guys, I've mentioned where I really am curious to see Luka. I want to start seeing Luka in some of these games where it's all about Luka they need him in a performance against a good team on the road, like they got coming up on Saturday against Denver, and what kind of Luka Doncic will be there. I think right now there's still a lot of times where he doesn't look all that comfortable. I think, he's probably never played in his career where he's playing with somebody else that's the primary ball handler as well, and is going to get a lot of attention like LeBron does. So is this going to be one of those situations where it's going to depend on LeBron, or not on LeBron, on Luka, to just say, you know what, F it. I'm just going to play my game. I don't care. I don't care that LeBron's on this team. I'm just going to do my thing. Right now, he's very much trying to fit in, I think, which I get it. I mean, I would probably doing the same thing. When you walk into a new office or to your new job, you're not walking around, with your chest down saying, this is my office. No, you're kind of, trying to show respect to others and slowly trying to work your way into your role. I think so far with Luka, it's been very underwhelming so far as a Laker. If you guys want to give your thoughts on that, feel free to. I'll expand a little bit more on it in the show tomorrow, but feel free to give any comments you want in regards to that. A couple other players I want to just point out here real quick. Rui, I mentioned with the 17 points and 8 rebounds, but took him 16 shots to get there. Just one of my pet peeves in the NBA, watching the NBA, is when guys aren't hitting threes, they get so stubborn and they just keep taking it. And for me, it's not that. I get it that in today's league, and if you're a shooter, you got to forget about the last one and take the next one. But it's more about just getting into a rhythm. If the three's not falling, take a couple dribbles in. Try to get to the free throw line. See if you could hit a 10-footer just to get your rhythm and your confidence back, and then go back behind the three-point line. I always see that in the NBA. I always get confused of why that continues to happen. I mentioned Rui. I mentioned Austin Reeves. In the 27 minutes Reeves played, not that effective. 3-9 from the field, 2-7 from the three-point line. So something to keep in mind there. Dorian Finney-Smith, great tonight. 4-6, hit 4 threes for the Lakers. 12 points, 5 rebounds. Gabe, quiet, 6 points, hit a couple of threes, but nothing special. Connect just 1 of 5 from the field. Alex Lynn only played 10 minutes, which is probably what you're going to usually see from him. And then Vando with 3 points and 4 rebounds. Only took 1 shot. So Lakers clearly missing the offense of Austin Reeves and missing shots. Just didn't take. I don't think they were strategic enough with their shots, with their shot selection, and that has a big reason why the Lakers ended up losing this game. I saw this, just something to keep in mind. I'll bring it up here real quick. Let's see here. I don't know if you guys saw some of those quotes. Mark Williams plays his game. I'm actually curious to see what his stats were tonight. Mark Williams, 10 points, 9 rebounds, no block shots. So 10 and 9, 3 of 7 from the field in 29 minutes. There was chatter about what was going on with this guy and how upset was he with Charlotte. The Charlotte Observer, he spoke to reporters today, told reporters, my agent told me that the trade was rescinded. I didn't think I had failed my physical. That didn't even cross my mind. The night I got traded, I played hella minutes. I don't think in any world that was possible. Since I've been back since the start of the year, I've played games with a lot of minutes. I feel like every injury I've had has been well documented, and I've recovered and been 100% since. So I don't know what went into their decision. I think that's up to the team. He said something else, can't write it any other way, right? That the Lakers were playing the Hornets after their first game. And then the last thing he said is, I think the biggest thing for me is showing I'm healthy. Like I said, I didn't think there was a world where I'd fail a physical, so I'm just excited to play. That's Mark Williams. I mentioned this a couple times. I feel most bad for him because no matter what happens with Dalton Connect, it's all good. Dalton Connect, there's not going to be a label on him that he's not healthy or anything along those lines. And then whatever other trades happen, the problem with Mark Williams is this guy is in a situation, in a predicament now where people are going to look at him and they're going to say, well, if the Lakers didn't take him, why are we going to trade for him? What's his value going to be? How much would he get in the open market? So I do feel bad for him, but just gives you an idea what he was able to do tonight. Miles Bridges killed the Lakers tonight, hit 5 threes, 29 points. LaMelo Ball balled out as well, 27 points. He had 5 threes, and he had some back-breaking buckets against the Lakers as well, as did Miles Bridges. And all that is obviously contributing to the Lakers' loss. I was just watching the highlights here. Bron, solid game from Bron. 26, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds. He did his part. Now, he did miss 2 threes. He had 2 shot attempts, 2 3 attempts there, and he missed both of them there at the end to try to tie the game for the Lakers. But had pretty good looks. The first one was pretty deep, but he likes taking that look from the top of the key. And then the second one he took a little bit hurried, but there's a reason why obviously he was hurrying. But he misses both of those shots. All right, let me keep going here. And I'm going to look at one thing here. Lakers got the Blazers next. Blazers kind of an interesting team here. First off, it's going to be a second of a back-to-back, so Lakers going to have them tomorrow, so that's not going to be good. But Blazers interesting. Somebody actually told me this. It was before the All-Star break. When I mentioned the Blazers, and somebody was like, they've been balling. I'm like, what are you talking about? I went back and looked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There was a stage of the season where they won 10 of 11 games. So whoever told me that was 100% right. They have been balling. But then they close out the All-Star break with a loss against the Timberwolves, a loss against the Nuggets, and then another loss against the Nuggets. I mean, frankly, all 3 of those games on the road, all tough games. So I don't really, expect the Portland Trailblazers to go in at Denver or even go in at Minnesota. But I think the point is that playing against Portland tomorrow in a second of a back-to-back after you just lost to Charlotte could be a little dangerous. And you've just lost 2 games in a row. And, they're going to finish their interviews here as fast as possible. And then they're going to be taking off and, getting ready to go out to Portland. So it could be a little bit of a headache here for the Lakers. That game tomorrow could be a little bit of a headache. You were expecting to grab tonight's game, and we'll see what kind of effort we get from Portland tomorrow. I mean, I still think Lakers win that game tomorrow, but we'll see what the Lakers, obviously are able to do. But just something to keep in mind. And I know Lakers are going to get some home cooking here, but they're at Portland tomorrow, at Denver on Saturday. Then after that, you got 6 games in a row at home. But if you just look at the schedule, there's a lot of really tough matchups that are coming up for the Lakers. Good matchups. Dallas, Minnesota, Clippers twice. Then you got a Pelicans game. You got the Knicks. You're at Boston. You're at Brooklyn, at Milwaukee, at Denver, Phoenix, San Antonio. I mean, I'm just pointing this out because a lot of these teams that they're going to be playing are playing for something. They're fighting in the standings. They definitely want to make that kind of push here towards the second half of the season as we start closing in on the month of February. So a lot of these games are obviously going to be key, and they won't be a walk in the park. Something to keep in mind. I forgot to actually mention this. JJ Redick was talking a little bit about it. Was a question from Dan Weike of the LA Times, and the question was on because of the trades, kind of systematically how the team has changed from a defensive standpoint. They don't have a choice. They don't have Anthony Davis, and they don't have Max Christie. Teams are going to start getting some more, this is going to be these, you got 3 games now that Luka's played. So they're going to start drawing some footage of, okay, how are the Lakers playing? How are they winning games? How are they losing games? What's happening in the paint? Can we dominate them in the paint now because of their lack of size or their lack of skilled bigs? Can we attack Luka here? Can we attack the backcourt or Austin Reeves here? Do we keep Jared Vanderbilt open on offense and we don't care about him and we let him take all the shots? There's going to be a lot of adjustments here. And I think there's just going to be so many question marks around the Lakers right now because literally they're figuring it out on the fly as they changed the whole structure of their team when they traded Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and they brought in Luka Doncic. And if they thought Mark Williams was going to be able to really plug in a hole, obviously that didn't happen, and that's not going to happen. I don't think anybody believes that that's going to happen. All right, let's take a quick listen to Bron, and then we'll see how much longer we go. I think we might call it after this, but here's Bron on the Lakers' loss.
He had every right to argue the missed call, but what he said after that, I don't think it warranted him being kicked out.
What was the explanation that you got?
That he said the F-bomb too many times, but he said it in the beginning and he left it alone and he said it's pretty obvious. So I think I think Rodney thought he said it again, but he didn't say it again.
JJ talked about just the comfort and the rhythm that you had for yourself there in the fourth. How do you feel about the looks you got?
I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good. I guess those last two was pretty good looks. The first one was obviously much better than the second one. The second one had to be rushed a little bit, but had good looks. We had good looks all night.
JJ said he's looking forward to the challenge of kind of figuring this thing out. It's different personality, and you guys are really kind of now having to stretch together there every day. When you come to a late game situation like you had tonight, the first time you and Luka have been in this situation, is it unspoken? Like, how are you guys feeling it out?
You run the set that the coaches, JJ draws up, and you execute it and we executed. We just didn't make it.
You guys have generated season highs in three-pointers the last couple games with 50 and 51. What have you liked about the shot quality and just the way that the offense, even as you guys figure things out, has been able to generate a lot of threes?
I don't know. I'm not. Don't ask me a 3-point question, please. we generated. We got we did a good job of getting guys great looks. We had great looks, and we just didn't make them.
So you've seen the benefits of pulling you and Luka and kind of the open shots that creates for your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. And that's gonna be it every night. Obviously, myself and Luka AR, we're gonna draw so much attention. And myself and Luka, we're gonna get double teamed a lot. And our guys got to be recipients and be ready to shoot, drive, or pass. It's easy. It's an easy game after that.
Luka, maybe it was his third game with the team after a long break, the All-Star break. How did you find him? Like, he had a nice moment in the fourth. He's still not 100%, but he's progressing.
Luka? Yeah. I mean, it's just like you said, it's his third game since Christmas. And it's his third game with us in the sense of just still doesn't know all the plays. He doesn't know all the defensive coverages, all the signals and things that we've built since September. So, obviously we were trying to fast track it on the fly. He's coming back from his injury. He's getting back into form. So we're all working through it together.
After the Luka trade, I think Ali brought up the fact that you like to say sometimes you've kind of seen everything in this league, but the Luka trade wasn't something you saw. And then the Williams trade being rescinded, I imagine you haven't seen too often in your career. I don't know, it hasn't happened since before you were playing. What was it like just to have him on the opposite side of things? You find yourself attacking him at the rim, finishing the dunk?
It wasn't. He was never a teammate. He never stepped into the locker room. He never came, and we never seen him. We know the trade went down, but we never seen him. So when the guy rescinded, it just was back to what it was before. So it was no different.
All right, stop right there. All right, mute is LeBron talking about his foot. LeBron talking about his foot, saying that he's going to have to manage it during the season, rest of the season, and go from there. So something to keep in mind on that front. Something to kind of think about right there on the threes. Jovan asked a question about taking 50 threes and then 51. So that's the amount of threes they took in their last two games. I wonder if that's going to be kind of the identity that this team is going to try to be, a team that just fires away from the 3-point line, which, let me tell you, I know that's the way the league is right now. And I guess the question is going to be, maybe they don't have a choice because they have such a lack of size, but I hope the team also doesn't just take away trying to drive to the basket, being aggressive. When you spread the floor as well, there are going to be more opportunities because you don't necessarily have a big just kind of hanging out in the middle. Try to get to the free throw line still. I just, the saying of you live and die by the three, there are plenty of teams out there that are going to be more effective from the 3-point line than the Lakers are. There's obviously going to have to be other ways for them to be effective in the Western Conference other than just firing away threes at any moment. So something to keep in mind as we, obviously continue to go through the rest of this season and see what this Lakers team is. Guys, I'm not going to go full post game tonight, so we're going to stop it there, about a half hour or so. 100-97, the final score. Charlotte Hornets over the Los Angeles Lakers. I'll be back tomorrow, So I'm going to try to get back in tomorrow morning. I will be back. 8 a.m. I'll do my live show. We'll just get to our regular Sliwa show, kick back, relax. We'll talk some hoops, any other sports stories that are going on that I feel like are relevant. I'll throw into the mix as well. But hopefully this was a little bit of a post-game show. You got to hear a little bit of audio, and I know nothing live tonight, but at least you guys got a little bit of reaction to it. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and then I'm back on tomorrow night for the post-game show after the Lakers take on the Portland Trail Blazers. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning.